Thanks for staying with TVC Breakfast. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this Friday morning, beginning with the Daily Independent newspaper. And as we discussed earlier, NNPC attains mechanical completion of Port Harcourt refinery. That's the big story on the Daily Independent. And it goes on to add that the NNPC claims it has achieved flare startup of the refinery's Area 5 plant, while Dangote refinery gets second 1 million barrels of crude. Of course, this is going to be yet another breakthrough when things start operating over there at this refinery and indeed all the others as promised. In other stories on the front page of this paper, federal government unveils transport companies participating in the Tinubu administration's 50% rebate for Nigerians during the Yuletide. Still on the rivers crisis, PDP blasts former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, over, quote, utterances capable of dragging the party down. Federal government plans to increase flying hours to sunset airports for Yuletide. And the Supreme Court reserves judgment in Yusuf Gawuna tussle for Kano election. Senate confirms 11 Supreme Court justices as reps summon ex-aviation minister Hadi Sirika over the controversial Nigeria Air project. Let's check out the Daily Trust now. Low turnout, lack of cash, mar federal government's 50% discount for travelers. Information Minister says 5 million commuters targeted for support, 5 companies approved for logistics. Racketeering again returns to Rigasa train station. That's the big story there. And of course, there's the picture story of passengers at the Jabi Motor Park in Abuja who are, of course, traveling for the Christmas festivities. 88% of Nigerians self-employed, says the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. NNPP supporters resort to prayers as Supreme Court reserves judgment. Now, CBN investigator uncovers 593 foreign accounts opened by former CBN Governor Emefiele, says over $543 million in UK fixed deposits, more in US, China. Additional infractions discovered in Nigeria. Also, PDP calls for Oshomole's investigation over vote buying. Adams Oshomole there, now Senator, former national chairman of the ruling or Progressives Congress. And next before us is the Blueprint newspaper, with the federal government urging Nigerians, let's move into 2024 with hope. Unveils gains of Tinubu's economic security reforms, assures on Naira availability. Other stories on the Blueprint: unfair/presidency names about 5 participating companies. It remains to be seen how that will pan out, but there you have a 50% fair/ as announced by the presidency, and now there are companies that have been announced for Nigerians to take advantage of. Tinubu also arrives to Lagos for the Christmas festivities, just as ahead of the Hajj pilgrimage exercise slated for 2024. Kaduna agency urges intending pilgrims to register by December the 30th. All right. Next is Business Day. Christmas cheer eludes patients trapped by unpaid bills. This has been a recurring matter with a spotlight on the health sector and all the attendant developments. Well, Business Day has a big story on this latest, saying that Christmas cheer that comes with the season, of course, might just elude patients as they are trapped by unpaid accumulating bills in the hospitals. Right, Nigeria's unemployment rises for first time since new methodology. Breath of Life, there's another story there captured on the front page of Business Day. It's a movie, so to speak, and it tells a story of a visually stunning story of faith and friendship. You might want to check that and all these other stories out. But let's hear what Ibrahim has.
Right, the first one with me here is the Nation newspaper with the major headline, Emefiele, ex-minister, 14 others indicted in CBN probe. And the writers read, investigators' report shows a massive plunder of Apex Bank. 31.78 billion naira paid to print new naira notes. 543.45 million pounds fixed in British Bank, and 1.62 trillion naira COVID-19 funds unaccounted for. First Lady gives out 25 million naira per state to senior citizens. And above the nameplates, 11 Supreme Court justices designate may be sworn in next week. Cash crunch. CBN lawmakers warn POS agents, banks, farmers linked to shortage. Tinubu will make Nigeria safe. Minister assures Ekiti workers to get 15,000 naira minimum wage award for 6 months. Next is a passenger overwhelmed free interstate U-type train service, and government petrol production begins next week at Port Harcourt refinery. And at the bottom strip, federal government to return 15 million out of school children to classrooms by 2027. Next is the Punch newspaper. Emefiele operated 593 illegal US, UK channel accounts. That's CBN investigator. And the writers read, foreign accounts operated without board's approval. 26 trillion naira ways and means fraud uncovered. Emefiele, Buhari's aide, 12 CBN directors to face trial. 2 detained over $6.2 million theft. Amazing. Port Harcourt refinery to process 60,000 barrels daily after repairs. Kaduna tops as PSC, that's Police Service Commission, shortlist 416,270 for police job. Passenger storm train stations, interstate luxury buses cut fares. Nigerians divided as bishops kick against blessing same-sex marriage. And above the nameplate, VP, governors raise panels on crude oil theft economy. $11 billion judgment, PNID loses bid to appeal Nigeria's victory. Tinubu threatened Fubara to sign resolution, ex-commissioner alleges. Next is Leadership Friday. Obaze reports may worsen Emefiele's woes. Alleges former CBN governor operated 593 foreign accounts without authorization. Manipulated exchange rate, says 17.4 trillion naira ways and means unaccounted for. 543,482,213 million pounds kept in fixed deposits in UK. Tunde Sabiu, originator of Naira redesign. And above the masthead, we've got FCT blames water scarcity on climate change. Supreme Court reserves judgment in Kano appeal. Trending, federal government engages 5 companies for holiday transport, and numbers, public debt rises to 87.91 trillion naira. Catholic bishops reject blessings for same-sex marriage. You can read that up on page 6. And Senate confirms 11 justices for Apex Court. That's about it for the Leadership Friday.